Hi everyone, Dr. Frank Labaca, and we are making graphs. We're going to start with the same data sheet spreadsheet that was used in the last video for the APA table. I know based on the pre-survey, some of you are comfortable doing that, so great to do that. I'm going to do this work in Google Sheets. You'll also do it in Microsoft Excel, whichever works for you. I think the reason I like to spend a little bit of time making data in Excel or Sheets is because it's a common way to move data around. I always organize all my own data for any research I'm doing in usually Sheets, sometimes Excel. And the reason is it's easy to manipulate quickly. And then I pull that information from Sheets or Excel and move it to SPSS when I want to do analysis. I find it much easier to organize information in a spreadsheet, and it's a little more cumbersome when you do it in SPSS. So really just a few skills in the spreadsheets that you can use and use that for your assignment. And then we can take that information and move data into SPSS for more complicated analysis. Anyway, the sheet we're looking at right now is the Department versus full-time equivalent. If we look at this data, we would classify this data as, what is it? You said categorical or nominal data, you would be correct. This is nominal data, it's categorical data. The categories are right here. And then we're filling, like I said, we're filling the buckets, and here are the buckets. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a graph. Because this is categorical data, it is discrete data, it is not continuous. This would not be appropriate to put in a line graph format. It is appropriate to put in a bar graph format. So what I've already done, actually, I'll do it again. I'm going to select the data. And then I'm going to insert the chart, and you can find the chart symbol and insert the chart. And when it'll give you default, it'll decide what it wants to do. It's doing pi. To me, that's not going to work well for me. I don't like it so much. So I'm going to go to a histogram setup. There's some suggestions. So the histogram is column setup. That looks great. And because this was a really easy one, because I made sure my labels were on top, and then it set it up for me. And you can leave it at that. The one thing I'm going to suggest you do, and this is like kind of the oddity, but it's really just for the purposes of presenting information. You might find a title on the graph. I would remove the title. Say, remove the title. Every graph should have a title. You are right. Every graph should have a title. However, the reason I remove the title is because I just find it a little easier when you put in a manuscript to put the labels in proper APA format. It's going to have font issues and all that. So I just take it out, and then I'm going to put it in my document. So I'm going to copy this out. Copy. I'm going to go back to that Word document from our previous assignment and put the figure in, just copy paste it. I'm going to just make it a little smaller. I don't like the way it looks. And the titling follows the same format as the table did. So we're going to do figure one, and then we're going to put a title on it. I'll drop this down a little bit here. Faculty assignments in let's do this. Faculty department assignments by full time equivalent. I spell that wrong. We get that right. Equivalent notes. Title bold. Figure. Uh, sorry. Figure in bold. Title the figure in italics. Just the same as before. Okay. So that looks great. That's number one. Now we're going to go over back to the data. We'll go to the next tab, and this is the original data. So there are several things I want to be able to do here. I'm going to do them all for you, and you can try to do them yourself. So rename a tab. So if I want to rename a tab, you'll notice the tabs are on the bottom. You can right-click on the tab, click on rename, and give it a new name. We're going to call it. That's number one. Create a new tab. I want to create a new tab. I come over here, and I create a new tab here. One of the things I do quite frequently when I work with it, this is just some advice. This is a short little table. But sometimes your data sets get big and you start manipulating them and then you screw something. I mean, like, what did I do wrong? What I always do is I keep a master spreadsheet, so like this. And what I do is I make a copy of it. So I duplicate it. And then I can work on the duplicated copy and then when I screw up, not if I screw up, when I screw up, I have the original saved and I've saved myself a lot of time on trying to refigure that out. So that's creating a new tab and copying over a tab. Resize columns, as you can see in my setup here, they're all the same, standard, but I want to make them bigger. If I bring my mouse up here, I can adjust and resize appropriately. Okay, sums and percentages is next. These are really simple formulas. Everyone should be able to do some simple formulas. It looks like by the survey I took, there is some knowledge here on this. So I'm going to do the sum first. All formulas in Excel and Sheets start with the equal sign. So I start with equals. It knows what I want to do already. It's giving me a little hinty hint right there. I'm going to type it in anyway. Sum. I'm going to select the cells I want to do the sum of. And 386. So I did my sums. I'm going to do a simple formula to actually calculate the percentage. I know I'm not going to actually select the cell for the division, the denominator, because I'm going to use it for all of them and it's going to have some relationship issues. So I'm going to say equals this divided by 368. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. And I was going to autofill for me. Let it do the work for me. And there they are. Now, these are not set up as percentages yet. They're decimal relationships. So I'm going to switch and I'm just going to highlight them and I'm going to tell it, make it a percent. And there are my percents. I'm happy because it's two decimal places. And that's my stats rule, 0, 2, or 4. If I wanted 0, I could make them disappear. If I wanted 4, I could add the 4. I don't think there's any real benefit. I think if I were actually presenting this data, I would probably go with 0 decimal places because of the nature of it. So that's sums and percentages. I'll go back to the original. And now we'll do the graph creation. I'm going to put a title in here that says total. I don't think I want the total on the graph. I'm just going to list it there anyway. So I'm going to do position frequency. I'm not going to put the percentages on because I don't think that's necessary in this graph. Again, this is what kind of data? If you said categorical or nominal level data, you are correct. Give me the pie chart. I don't want the pie chart. I want a bar graph. That looks good. Take the title off. And I could put that if you want, if you don't like the way that looks, I can open that up a little bit to get the names more visible if you want. It's up to you, however you want to handle the situation to make it aesthetically pleasing. Copy and paste it into the document you're going to present it in, title it with a figure, and you're good. Okay, and now we're going to go to, oh, all my Zoom stuff's popping up. It's getting in the way. You don't see that happening, but I do. Get that out of the way. And lastly, we've got some SAT data. So this is SAT data. I'm going to take this from a couple of different perspectives. So one of the things you could do is you could certainly, uh, you could barcode this. And I'm going to do that just to do that. And then you see me make the face. So now you'll understand what I'm doing. So I did the bar on that. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, so what? I look at this and say, so what? Like, so I look and say, like, does it really even matter? Like, it's the same data as what was in the table. Like to me, there's really no benefit to this. It's individual data. It doesn't really help me at all. It's just a repetition of what's in the table, and I think the table is fine. The other thing is like this is a roller coaster here. Like it goes up and down, and it's not really well organized. I guess if I were doing it, maybe what I would like to do is sort it. So maybe we go from lowest to highest. Maybe that would be more interesting. I don't know. So I can sort it. I'm going to sort. Uh, the data has a header row, so I'm going to sort by English score. So let's go lowest to highest. Maybe that looks a little bit better. Again, I don't think it's particularly useful visual representation of this data because I think the table does for me just the same as the It's a graph test. So not worth it at all to do this, in my personal opinion. However, how could we visually represent this? That's always the question I want to ask. Like, how can you visually represent graphs, summarize, tables, report? So the tables reporting information, the graphs need to be able to summarize it in some way that is not intuitively obvious from the table. So I thought about this one and I said, well, maybe there's a relationship between the English SAT and the math SAT score of an individual person. And maybe we can graph that in the, now let's see, if I do it this way, I think when it translates, it's going to point back in the right direction. So let's try that. So in this case, I don't want all the data for the graph that I'm going to make now. I'm going to just do the English versus the math and make our graph. And it did the bar graph thing again. This is definitely not a bar graph situation. This is actually what's called a scatter plot. So we're going to go here, put the scatter plot in, and wow. And that looks a little different because now it takes the SAT score here in math and puts it against the English one there. I clearly would take the title off and make a better title. Now, one of the things I would also comment on this one is you can't see, there's a lot of negative space here. Like the lowest score is 370 on the math, or 400 on the math. Actually, we can see that right up here, I think. So like all this space here is really just kind of wasted. So one of the options you have, if you click on the axis, like I just did, it'll drop you down over here. And you can set a minimum value. And I'm going to say, I'm going to make the minimum value like 300. Unlike that, and that looks a little bit better. I may go a little further. Let's go 350. Okay, 350. It doesn't like that. But anyway, now we can actually see that positive relationship. It almost looks like a linear positive relationship. We'll get into more of that when we do correlation. But to me, that tells a very different story. Like if we compare, we do a little side by side. This has the same data in it, but its representation looks very different and it's telling a very different story, giving you a different kind of piece of information. So that's some graphs, making some simple graphs using this information, making tables. You should be able to complete homework assignment number 1. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you very much.